Well, hello, YouTube. Hey, so it's been 7 days ago I had VSG surgery, and I wanted to tell you what happened. Um, I haven't been feeling too well, and so I didn't really feel up to doing a video. Plus, I've had company over, and when I say company, I mean help with my recovery. So I wanted to touch base. So hello, everyone. Thank you so much for all the great comments. You guys have been so supportive. Oh my gosh, I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. So let me tell you what happened. So 7 days ago on Monday, January 23rd, today is Sunday, January 29th. It is 10:40. So last Monday, I went into El Camino Hospital in the morning with my husband and was admitted to have VSG surgery. Now, one thing I wanted to tell you guys about that I found interesting that I've had a lot of surgeries, and this was a little bit different. So I personally, I had three wristbands. One of them has like a little scanner thing, like a barcode, where they would use like this little, handheld little reader. They would read it and then they would put it into the computer, and that way they could track all the medicines and stuff and all the procedures they do. But I also had one for my sleep apnea, which will be important in a second. With information I'm going to tell you in a second. And the other one was another band that had all of my allergies, and so that included like I'm allergic to like morphine and Vicodin and plastic medical tape, and there's a couple other things that, because I've had so many surgeries, that I kind of have some experience with, and I know I'm especially sensitive to, and so we just know straight off the bat we don't want to try those. So I went into surgery, and everything was fine. Everything was on track, on time. But when I came out of surgery, I was in a very significant amount of pain. And this is a lot more pain than I have actually encountered in the just waking up phase of surgery. Because sometimes that could be a little tricky, and that's a very specific time period, because, once pain meds get put on board, that really fluctuates during recovery for any procedure. But so for me, I don't usually have this amount of pain when I'm first waking up. Well, I had a nurse that was stationed literally sitting right beside me on the computer, looking at my charts and seeing all my readings and doing all that stuff. And what he was telling me was that my sleep apnea was really severe, and that every time they would give me either nausea medication or the painkiller, it would cause my oxygen percentage to drop. And so they weren't able to give me the full doses of medication. So I was actually experiencing more pain than I had. And it was a little scary, because I have experienced a great deal of pain in my life because of some very severe surgeries, but not usually right out of the gate. So it's a little scary for me. But once I was able to get up to the room, which was actually several hours, quite a long time, which had alarmed my husband quite a bit. But once I got up to the room, everything was kind of going all right. Wasn't handling just everything very well, just because of not being able to be very medicated. I had a little oxygen sensor on my finger, which is like this little orange, little glowing thing. You kind of look like ET. I had the pressure wraps to prevent blood clots, and I had an IV. You can kind of see, yeah, look, you can kind of see where that was right there. And then I had a problem with, on day 2, I had an issue called, I think it's called infiltration. I think that's the word that the nurses use. It's where the fluid that's going into the IV stops going into the vein, and it starts going into like your muscle and like your fleshy part of your arm. And what happens is you basically, you swell up because all that fluid gets stuck, and it gets really hard and kind of cold. So if that happens to you in the hospital, it's not too big of a deal. You just need to let the nurses know, and they'll pull it out, and it'll just go away by itself. And then they move my IV. Oh, look, you can kind of see it. Yeah, look right there. So they just moved it over there. That was no big deal. But the real problem I had is I ended up getting a monster migraine, and I've had migraines for several years. I can't even use the word several. It's really almost my whole life, since I was a teenager, and I'm 42 now, so I've had almost my whole life. And so what I had done is, I'm going to highly recommend this to all of you guys if you haven't gone through surgery yet, is I had brought, thank thank the Lord, I brought my migraine medicine on my own. The hospital only used Emitrex as their migraine medicine. So Emitrex does not work for my migraines. So thank heavens I had brought my own Max Salt. And what they have to do, so my recommendation to everybody is bring all of your meds, kind of put them in your bag, just in case you need them. Most medications, um, that aren't necessarily like a daily use, that you wouldn't necessarily have set up with the hospital in advance. Like my hospital, I could have set it up in advance, but I didn't know that who knew I was going to need it. But what they do is they take the medication, they send it to their pharmacy, and the pharmacy sort of authenticates it and kind of says, okay, this really is what it says it is. It really does what it says it does, because now they're taking the liability if they're going to give us this, or give me this pill. So they got that worked out. Took many, many hours. Finally, I started getting the meds, but the problem was that anyone that suffers from migraines, you know that if it's full blown, it takes a lot for it to come down. So it actually took me 2 full days for the migraine to actually get good enough to where I could like function and not throw up. So unfortunately, I was throwing up and just retching and just so uncomfortable and so nauseous. But I don't know. I don't know if that was the VSG surgery or if that was the migraine. It was so hard to tell. The nurses would come by and ask me, they ask you your pain scale, 0 to 10, where does your pain reside? I would just say, honestly, my migraine is a 9. VSG, barely even notice. Oop, let me just do that. I just didn't even register because I was in so much pain. I mean, I've had a lot of migraines. So this migraine, it was horrible. It was really, really bad. So I did have to stay an extra day, and that was because I couldn't keep anything down. And like I said, I don't know if it was VSG or if it was migraine, but yeah, they brought me like the infamous first meal. Yeah, they brought it, and it was just like, ugh. I mean, I think I had a few little tiny tastes of maybe like a Jello, and that was the only thing I ingested like the whole time. Maybe I had a taste of something else, but if I didn't have those IV fluids, oh, it would have been bad. But speaking of IV fluids, the IV fluids. So you're hooked up to all these things, and so you end up having to go to the bathroom like every 40 minutes. So my husband would have to come over, and thankfully, like the little oxygen sensor, it was kind of a quick release, so he had to just find the cord. So it was more just finding it under all the sheets, undo that, take off the leg wraps, and then I would just have the IV. And so he would like help me get into the bathroom, and then like in the potty there was like this little measuring thing. You had to like pee into like this little catch thing, and they would just fill up this little container. And man, so much IV fluid, and man, there's zero chance of dehydration in the hospital. Let me just say that. Thank goodness too, because I couldn't ingest anything. But then also to know, like when you do throw up after VSG, you're not throwing up. Now it was the same kind of like that whole guttural kind of comes from your inner depths, but it's just kind of like this foamy, more kind of spit. It definitely wasn't any substance. There was no definitely wasn't like before, like when I would thankfully haven't had that experience a lot in my lifetime of vomiting, but yeah, it wasn't that bad, but it was more just alarming. But since I've been home, I've just really been trying to get my fluids in and get my proteins up. That's always tricky. I'm adding like the unflavored protein powder to soups and trying to keep it going. Yesterday I had a problem where I was just unusually weak, and I was kind of a little out of it, and I think I was low in electrolytes. And so what I did is I grabbed a Gatorade and I just sipped on Gatorade, and then within maybe like 2 hours I kind of came back to myself, and I felt a lot better. Have been having a little bit of pain still, it's kind of like a cramp. It's not associated with my incisions, and it's definitely not a blood clot or anything. There's no redness, there's no heat. It's just kind of like the whole left side of my belly is just kind of like a cramp. But then today kind of started on the right side. Now I thought by the seventh day that that I wouldn't have any gas pains, but maybe, don't really know. Like right now, as I'm like kind of like moving around, I don't feel it in my left as much right now. I feel it more on my right side. So maybe it moves. I don't know. I went on a little car ride today, hoping like the vibration would kind of knock anything out, but I must say my energy level is pretty low. Averaging the first 5 days maybe 150 calories. Today, or yesterday, I think I got up to 200 and something, and today I really pushed the protein, mixing it to soup. So I think I probably got up to like 300. Probably, I would guess 300 calories. Today, maybe. Now I still need to work on fluids for today because it's 10:50 on Sunday night, and I have not had enough. But sugar-free popsicles, those really are good. Kind of gives you that, because still kind of have that dry mouth thing going on. So they're kind of nice. Now I have weighed myself. When I weighed myself here at home, it looked like it's hard to tell because like the scale at the hospital, the scale at home, there's always that little poundage difference. But it's looking like around 10 pounds since the start of the pre-op diet, which was last Saturday. So from last Saturday to today, Sunday, around 10-ish. I mean, the number is, it's hard to know because like when I weighed in at the hospital, my highest weight recently had been 252 point something. I weighed in at the hospital at 250, but at 250 at the hospital that morning I'd weighed in at home, it was 246.5 or something. So it's hard to tell. And then today or yesterday I weighed in at home and I was 237. So do I use my scale weight? Do I use their scale weight? It's just, but I'm not really too worried about it. I know that I'm losing. I can kind of see a little bit in my face. And so I'm so excited. I'm excited about next week. I have my 10-day post-op appointment set for Thursday. And so then I will be moved to the soft foods. And oh my gosh, I cannot wait for that. I'm getting very sick of fluids, to be honest. Very, very sick of it. But I guess that's it. I just want to thank you guys for following this and following my journey, being so supportive. I haven't shared this with very many people. Just my immediate family, my parents, my in-laws. My brother-in-law and sister-in-law, my brother and sister, my kids. So, and my mom has come into town, has been helping taking care of me. They're leaving tomorrow, and I can't thank them enough. Mwah! I love you, Mom, because I bet she's watching. And my husband has just been amazing. It's just been amazing. So it's kind of bringing the family together because they're all sort of this like united, project to, keep Mom well. But anyway, so thank you guys. Good luck in your journeys. I hope you all have a great week, and I will see you later.